Well, I think besides awareness, about 1 in 5 people will have some mental health challenges, like some symptoms throughout their life. About 1 in 20 people will have more of a serious mental health issue. So I think we're better at identifying it. And again, we have the language for it. I think a few things that are playing a part in it is I think our world is going faster. So where years ago, I think people were physically tired, when I think of like my parents or my grandparents or they were physically tired, farm families that worked from morning till night. But now what I see is people are more mentally tired. They're maybe not as physically tired, but more mentally tired. And then I think they're more accessible or more vulnerable to mental health issues.
You shared with our team that idea, because I think a lot of people would say it's never been so hard
Yeah.
to be alive right now. And even as even it's like all I could think. I was in Colorado recently, standing in the mountains, and I'm like, can you imagine trying to navigate this
Yeah.
with like horses and like everything you own in a wagon? I'm like, I don't think it's currently the hardest it's ever been to be alive.
Right. Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I just smile because I'm sure we all feel that, right, with every generation. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to go back to the people in the 1930s or, like when my grandpa was born, like in the late 1890s or something, and say, okay, you had it easy. You had it so easy, like we're the ones that have it hard. But I think it's different. I think, yeah, I think there's physically tired versus mentally tired. I also think a difference now is I think the world goes faster. And I think there's more noise.
Yeah.
And so years ago, I think there was more rest or more time of quietness or stillness where we had more time for our brain to reset. Again, these are such trivial things, but if you think of, when people used to not have TVs, and then you progress that to when people didn't have cable. So, maybe there'd be a radio on, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of noise. Fast forward that now where we have 24-hour accessibility
Yep.
to noise. And I think our brain doesn't always get time to reset. And then I think, because everything happens so fast, I think sometimes then we and our society increase expectations and expectations for productivity or what we should be involved in or we should be doing. And then I think sometimes when we feel we can't match those expectations, then that can create stressors too.
That's so good. And I think those little subtle things that the fear of missing out that
Yes.
I never would have felt 20 years ago, I think those little things add up, and that's what makes us so emotionally and maybe mentally tired. I even just was thinking the other day, the amount of times that I would have to wait because so-and-so was going to pick me up at this time. Well, something got them tripped up. And now they would text me and let me, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late. Hey,
Yeah.
you can actually walk down at the store and meet me there. Well, in the past, you sat there and did nothing. And along with your brain, you just had those natural times to pause, where now we fill those with our phones, and we're calling this person, doing this, checking that, and I think all this adds up over time.
I think, and thank you for clarifying that. I think it's a million little things
Yeah.
that has changed. I don't think there's been one change, but, even like the workforce, when we used to leave work, or if kids left school, then you would pick it up the next day.
Yep.
But now, people are accessible, or we think people should be accessible, 24 hours a day. Or I think of students, like if there was a conflict at school, how you had different perspective just with a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Well, now, there could be, that conversation could go on and on and on into the evening hours, and, you're not sleeping well. And so there's never that distance, or it's harder to get that distance to have perspective.